Saa zingine nyinyi mnatishwa sijui one term, sijui how many terms, sijui nini. That is not my concern. 2027, kwani 2027 itakuwa uchaguzi tofauti kuliko ile yote tumefanya? Kwani iko shida gani? Watu watulize boli, mambo ya 2027 tutakutana 2027. Hakuna uchaguzi this year. Hakuna uchaguzi next year.
A very good morning and welcome back to Havana Media. My name is Boniface Awino and as usual I'm going to be your host for today. Now today being Wednesday, we are doing breaking political barriers and once again I have Honorable Dan Lukuriro, even though he doesn't want that name, but I don't know why that name keeps on coming into my mind, and I feel comfortable calling him Honorable. Perhaps maybe there is a reason as to why I'm calling him that way, but I just want to give him time. But before that, I want to ask him a question. Honorable Dan, when a snake swallows a frog, what do you expect to happen?
Of course, it will be satisfied. You know, a frog is one of the prey that a snake feeds on. Yes. So I think it would be happy, but it also depends on whether the frog will die or not.
So when a snake swallows,
you know that is not the answer you expected. But then you just asked, you just told the viewers that I don't like the name Honorable. It is not like I don't like it. But I think this honorable title should really be for honorable people. And who is an honorable person? Look at the crowds that we have that are calling themselves honorable today. And tell me if there is anything honorable about them. Maybe that title is supposed to be reserved for people like the likes of the people we had in the past, the leaders we had in the past, who are not driven by greed, who are not driven by these stupid passions we see around just because people have made a bit of money, so they think they can do anything and get away with it. That is the reason I feel a bit uncomfortable being called honorable. Because these days the title honorable is associated with the people who are doing all kinds of evil. And they think they are above the law. Nobody can do anything about it. But one of these days, we will catch up with them.
Now that you brought the issue of honorable and the people that were there in the past that led well, and they deserve to be called honorables. I've seen our former justice, that is Maraga, singing this song with the Gen Zs that this Okoa movement sasa ni natoa roho yangu kuokoa Kenya. And initially a lot of people were putting pressure on Maraga. I think there was also a time that we talked about him here, that if it will force Kenyans, then it will if Kenya needs him and he doesn't want to come out, it will force Kenyans to go and take him out to force him to be president or to fight for the presidency. And Nelson Harvey have also been talking about him every now and then. Do you think Maraga have now decided that, okay, being that people want me to go and serve, let me just go out there and do what is needed? And if at all maybe he have decided to do that, who do you think they can join hands with, they can work with?
First, if indeed it is true, then I'm a happy Kenyan. In April last year, I met Justice Maraga in person. And I'm one of the people who asked him a direct question. Because of you remember the famous statement he made about when he was saying he has never taken a bribe. And he took a Bible to swear. And the ruling he made after the 2017 election? Yeah. That one endeared him to a lot of Kenyans. And when he went to retirement after serving as the Chief Justice, some of us were thinking maybe people like Maraga, because of his character, of course he has reached retirement age, but he's not tired. So why not, if he has finally accepted what we have been asking him to do? But then running for presidency in this country is an uphill task. It is not going to be easy. Remember, before Ruto became president, he started campaigning. Actually, Ruto had been planning for this position for many years, having been mentored by Moi. He started making connections back then. And he started serious campaigns in 2018, immediately after the elections in 2018. And like I've told you before, and like many other Kenyans and people around know, that there are people who saw us in their villages campaigning for this Ruto. And even Ruto himself was asking questions. And the reason why we were thinking about this Ruto becoming president is, remember, even during the Uhuru regime, when Matiang'i was the internal security minister, that is when people's bodies were found in rivers, people still disappeared. And one of the things that Ruto promised is we are not going to have such things happening under his leadership. Unfortunately, it is happening again.
Worse than even.
Now, I've digressed a bit so that you understand the background of where we are coming from as a country. And remember, this is something I addressed in our last show. It is like we are going round and round in circles, because we keep talking about these same things. This is not what we want, but when somebody gets in power, it looks like it is a system issue. It looks like there are some people behind the scenes who actually come in and change the direction, the way these things are done. In the countries like the US, for example, they have, I don't know whether you have heard about the Bilderberg group. These are the people who sit, and I think they meet once every
once every year, yeah.
Is it once a year?
It's once a year.
Yes.
Mostly around March.
And they make decisions on who is, even before people are presented or present themselves for election, they make decisions on who will be. Because they want to control that person. I don't know whether we have such a system here in Kenya. I understand it is such groups that determine even who becomes a leader in Africa, for example. So if that is the case, then Maraga has a tough job ahead of him. But we wish him well. If we had enough people with his character, this country would be miles ahead. Like I've always told you, Boniface, the problem of our country has never been economical. It is not about how much money Kenya has, but it is about what happens to the money that we have. Nairobi alone collects taxes that can feed the whole of this country.
Yeah, that's right.
But where does the money go?
The politicians.
They buy houses, they engage in all kinds of whatever. They spend money on things that are not necessary. And this is where our problem is. We need somebody who can manage our resources. We need somebody with integrity. Somebody who really fears God. And I think that person at the moment is Maraga.
Yeah, that's right.
So I want to wish Maraga well, wherever he is, with the young people that were surrounding him as they sang yesterday. We hope he gets somewhere.
So some Kenyans, some of the prayers might be answered.
Some of the prayers might be answered. And I want to ask people who pray. I've seen prayers work. Keep praying. You never know. Maybe God is going to deliver us through this man.
So then talking about now, if at all maybe Maraga wants to come, we have got a lot of candidates.
Yes.
Of course, we have got Matiang'i is there from Kisii. We have got Okiya Omtata is there. We have Kalonzo Musyoka. And then I don't know how they're going to form themselves, but let me just mention how the candidates, without mentioning who is going to be with who. Now we have got Matiang'i, we have got Omtata, we have Kalonzo Musyoka, we might have Martha Karua.
You have Ruben Kigame, you have Ogola,
Fred Ogola. I don't know, Maraga is also saying that he wants to come back. So we have a lot of them.
Morara might not have a big impact today because he's still underage.
Yeah, he's still underage.
According to our laws, you only qualify when you are 35 and above.
Yeah, it might be below 35.
He's still below 35.
Yeah, so let's take Morara out of. Now we have got this, let's say around 6-7. And now we have got Maraga. Suppose now Maraga decides now that he wants to vie for the presidency. Whom do you think he can work with?
Of course, it is about one. You look for people who have the same thinking as you. That is what I think. Because if even the Bible says two cannot walk together unless they agree.
That is almost 3-3, eh?
Yes. Yeah. Is it? Yes.
Almost 3-3.
Yes. So if Maraga is going to run, he has to look for people who fear God like himself. And so far, I don't want to imagine that he could be a pretender like some people we know. There are people who go to church today and say, oh, Bwana asifiwe, and so on. And tomorrow they are doing other things. Remember the issue we were addressing of somebody who was stabbed on the pulpit. This is an elder. And that is just an example.
Was it it was SDA church?
It was SDA. By the way, Maraga is an SDA, a very staunch SDA elder here in the Lavington SDA church. I've interacted with him personally. I'd not say I know him much other than the public Maraga that I know. But I know he's very passionate about his family. He has not been involved in any scandal that we know. He has so far stood for integrity in terms of leadership, especially when he was the CJ. And I think he has enough experience to become president. If we are looking at the height, he's a tall man. Yeah. If we need a tall man, he's still qualified.
If we need a huge man, he's huge.
If we need a huge man, he's huge. If we need somebody who has been a good example, even to the people he preaches to, Maraga is the one. But then the issue of resources, like I said, our election is driven by money. You would go out and tell people all the good things you are going to do. Then another idiot shows up at night with money and pours it into people's pockets, and tomorrow they wake up having changed their minds.
Don't you think that issue of money was a very bad influence, or really affected the past elections? But in this one, it might not affect, because the Gen Zs knows their stand. Okay, they can take the money, but now they know who they want. It's not initially it was about, okay, when you come with money and I don't come with money. So our fathers, our mothers, and those elders, they'll say that Naneli nipea sukari, so wacha nipige kura. But now, Gen Zs are people who are not driven by money.
I asked you a question last time. Do these Gen Zs have IDs?
Some of them have.
Some of them?
Yeah.
Can you pinpoint and say this number of them have IDs?
Okay, the number, total Gen Zs
the fact is, even if they have IDs, are they registered voters?
Okay, let's now work with the assumption that total Gen Zs we have got 5.6 million.
They are actually the majority.
Yeah, the majority with 5.6 million. Now the 5.6 million, let's assume that only 2 million have got no IDs. That one leaves us with the 3.6. Now, out of the 3.6, we have, let's say that we have around 600,000 who have not registered. So that one now gives us 3 million. Now, this 3 million, I'm very sure that this 3 million can have an influence. Of course, they will have an influence in their families, their parents, something like that.
Boniface, one important thing you are forgetting is many of these people, there are a very large number of them in rural areas who are maybe, let me say, very far from the media sites and so on. So basically, they don't know what is happening. The ones you see shouting here are the few with phones and who can access internet and information, who can make a little influence, let me say little. And that is why when you got back to the past elections, for example, let's start with the Moi. The reason why Moi ruled for 24 years is not because he had no opposition, but Moi was a man of the people. Moi would even pass through our village on a school day and we would be made to stand on the road and wave and go home happy because we've seen the president. Because Moi knew that the voters, the real voters who want change, are those poor people in the villages. Most of the people in town here just shout, and especially the middle class and the rich, they don't vote. Instead of going to vote, they watch on TV to see what is happening where. So the people who make decisions concerning this vote are actually the villagers. So it is still going to be an uphill task for newcomers in this election. One, because they have to go and convince that person on the ground, that villager, why having a road is important. And this is somebody who doesn't possibly have a car or a bicycle. So they just wake up and do their things in the village. They don't know what the hell am I going to benefit from having a new road constructed. And I'm saying that with a reason. The president has been in Northeastern, right? And one of the promises he made was to construct an over 700-kilometer road in Northeastern. Are these promises familiar to you?
They are familiar.
How many roads have been promised in Central and nothing has been done?
Lots of them.
How many in Western? How many in Nyanza?
Lots.
So even the people of Northeastern are going to be promised because they, according to the last census, Northeastern has about 2.7 million adults. 2.7. But that is is it 2019 or?
The 2019 census.
2019 census. Yeah. Today they might be about 3 million. Of course,
growth and
yes, because of the growth and they are the kind of marriages they have. Men are allowed to marry up to 4 wives. Each of the wives maybe has 10 children. Yeah. So one man, 40 children. And then something else that is very interesting happened. The president also promised to register them as voter, to give them IDs. Remember, there is this issue of the chiefs who are abducted. Do you know what they are saying on the ground could be the reason why they were abducted? Because they refused to give letters to some people, possibly from those groups across, who wanted to register for IDs, who wanted to register as Kenyans. So some of these chiefs refused to give them letters because normally it is procedural. Yeah. When you come from a border district, and it happens even to us from where I come from.
Because you border Uganda and
yes, because we are neighbors to Uganda. It has happened to me twice. When I was registered, applying for my own ID, it took me up to a year before I got it.
Because of the border issues.
Yes, when my daughter tried to apply for an ID here in Nairobi, it took over 6 months. We didn't get any reply. I had to take her back home for her to register and get the ID because the assistant chief has to verify this is so and so, comes from family X, the father is this, the mother is so and so, and such like things. And here are people who have just crossed over from Somalia. They are in Kenya and they are demanding they want to register as Kenyans. So the chiefs are telling them, go and bring us a letter from your assistant chief. They go to the assistant chief or the chief. the chief says, no, I don't know you.
I don't know you.
I don't know your relatives. So you are not a Kenyan. And that is why this, apparently, these chiefs were abducted.
Because Dan, tell me how these Al-Shabaabs knew that these chiefs were in this car, 5 of them. And then something fishy here is that there might be someone who informed them, because of course we know that chiefs come from different locations. So there is no way these people could have been in one car at the same time, even though they were organizing for the visit of the president. But tell me, how did these people know that they are at this point at this time in this car?
In a place like you see, if you go to those places in Northeastern, people there don't believe they are in Kenya because of the limited resources. So the issue of them being in one car goes without saying, because that could possibly be the only car in that area
that serves the chief.
Yes, that serves the whole. And that is one of the challenges that even leaders on the ground in this country have. A country that has resources like the ones we have. If I were in a position to make a decision, people like chiefs or assistant chiefs, I'd ensure at least in every location or sub-location, there is a proper vehicle to serve, because this is somebody who is helping the national government reach the people on the ground. I'd ensure there are vehicles. And possibly they were also using a GK vehicle. You never know.
It was a GK.
So it is very easy to identify this GK vehicle, and the people who are in that vehicle must be government people. That is my own thinking. But that is beside the point. The point is, you see such things when our society has broken down. Why is it that Somalis want to register for IDs in Kenya? Is it because they hate their country so much?
Now that you've brought that issue of IDs, there was a time that I talked about that thing here, and I said that there is a high chances because William Ruto have already lost the mountain. He has lost. He can't depend on the Western votes and the Nyanza votes. So he must look for an alternative. And all along you've been hearing people like Oscar Sudi saying that kama kura zetu hazijatosha tutajaza. So tutajaza from where?
You see, the danger is, and I understand what you are doing, what you are asking. You see the danger with having people being cleared to register just because for political reason. There is a danger. We will end up with a very big population of foreigners. Already we have them in refugee camps and so on and so forth. But now we are going to integrate them officially into the system, because these people will now have our identity cards. It means they have all the rights that citizens of this country are entitled to. It means they are going to have to, maybe when they start families, we have to start planning for the schooling of their children. It means they are going to apply for passports as well. It means they are going to fight for positions of job opportunities within this country. And of course, there are no jobs now. There have been agencies like now the USAID that has been supporting the refugees through the UNHCR. They have withdrawn their funding, for example. What happens? 2 things. One, like I said last time, this could be an opportunity for us to grow and stand on our own. Alternatively, another country like, say, China, for example, because they also want to extend their influence, might decide and say, okay, the US has left. Let's get in and support these people. And of course, they'll be coming in with their own conditions. The question, if I was to ask the American government, for example, I'd ask them, are they ready to lose their influence? I'm not saying we really need their msaada, but you see, when you are giving somebody something, just like in politics, people will listen to you when you have something from them. When you withdraw that support you have been giving, tell me, will you have the moral authority to come and tell these people this is what we want?
No.
Maybe it is a good thing for us because then we will move out of the dependency syndrome that has existed for over 60 years to finally being independent. I don't know. I'm just thinking, but that is part of the scenario that is likely to play out. It is actually, in my view, good that the US aid has pulled out. I'm moving too fast and
it's okay.
Mixing ideas.
It's okay.
But I know.
We'll just get to the track.
The point is, with these agencies moving out, the issues of insecurity in Northeastern will increase because people will not get the refugees will not be getting possibly the food they have been getting. The headlines today say over 30,000 people have lost jobs directly. And these 30,000 people have other people depending on them. So we are looking at over 100,000 people who will lose out on their livelihoods because of that simple action by the US government. I was looking at the numbers this morning. You know, I'm a financial person. And just by that decision again and a few other executive orders that Trump gave, the Canadian dollar went down. Yes. What are likely to be the results? People will lose jobs. People will start trying to fight for
a living, like
or maybe escaping from their countries and going to other countries and such like things. It is okay because they are going to seek for an opportunity. But how does it affect the country where people are moving from to? And how will those other people in that other country feel? Remember when the Nigerians went to, was it South Africa?
South Africa.
There was xenophobia because the South Africans were fighting. They were blaming the Nigerians and other foreigners for taking their jobs.
Let us now, in fact, for people to understand it easily, let us now take a look at now our nearest neighbors are Ugandans.
Yes.
And then we are Kenyans. Let's assume that Ugandans wants to break. Now they want to come. They want to come to Kenya. They've been allowed to get into Kenya freely. Or now, okay, for instance, let us now go back to the issue of Somalians. Now the Somalis are going to be allowed. That is the naked truth, because they've been in Kenya. A lot of them are in Kenya, and one of the politicians whom I think is also supporting this is Aden Duale. We'll come back to that though. Let's assume that these people have come into Kenya. We Kenyans, people that live in Kenya, are crying because we don't have jobs. Now the few jobs that we have. Now, these people are going to come and then they will also start struggling with us. And one thing that the government will consider the refugees more than us.
You see, that already is a risk. What is likely to happen? Even in your own family, Boniface, you have maybe neighbors.
Yeah, the neighbors.
If you have no food in your house, or the little food that is there, your mother takes and gives a neighbor. She will be helping that neighbor, but indirectly creating some bitterness in you. You'll start looking at the neighbor and saying, this one is taking my whatever I am entitled to. If these people are allowed to come in like we are thinking, even those who are doing their own genuine businesses, can you imagine how the normal Kenyans without businesses or jobs will begin to feel? They'll start to feel that these people are the ones. I don't have a job because so and so has. I don't have a shop because so and so has taken the space that is supposed to belong to me. So it is a very delicate balancing act. Because in the long run, those are the things that lead to tribal wars.
Yes.
You see people just fighting you because of your tribe. Na hujawakosea. It is not about you. It is about the decisions that were made in the past that are now affecting the present and the future.
Yeah.
It is just like the situation we were talking about in DRC, Congo. Those guys, the Banyamulenge are from Rwanda. But when the white people are drawing the boundary, walikuja wakakata through familia hivi. Uko pande ya kwetu, uko Busia, we have the kina Mudi Awori family. Do you know when Mudi Awori was the vice president here in Kenya? His brother in Uganda was, I think, a very senior minister in the government of Uganda. Do you know why? Because when they were drawing the boundary, they drew right in the middle of Kina Awori's farm. So some Aworis are across the border in Uganda and some are in Kenya. How do you start telling the Awori's brother in Uganda that now you are a Ugandan and your brother here is a Kenyan? That is a very difficult balancing act. And I think that is the whole thing why we should maybe relook at the issue of the boundaries. God never created boundaries anywhere. People should be free to move anywhere on earth. Even America, if I feel like going, I just go. Yes, that is.
But do you know this issue? If there is one of the countries that have been affected by this issue, this thing is America. Look at the time that Joe Biden was the president, the way Mexicans were moving into United States of America. I think that is not Joe Biden himself. Before Donald Trump, the first term of Donald Trump, which president served? And then Obama. So Obama was allowing the Mexicans to get into United States to do their businesses, to do what, and then without questioning them, without vetting, all that. So it made the Mexicans to be many in the United States. And then when Trump came in, Trump realized that these people are taking away the jobs of the Americans. So that is where now he came with the issue of building the walls.
The wall.
Yeah, the walls. So I think this issue of allowing people to get into your country without vetting them is one of the greatest things that is going to affect a lot of people.
That is a big risk. Because when they just come in the way they do, the government should be in a position to know so and so came in and this is the business they are doing. Otherwise, you'll end up attracting even it's dangerous criminals into your territory. And sometimes they grow so that you are not able to control them. The reason why we have a government is to make sure there is order. And you only have order when you know what is happening, where it is happening. Now, to refer back to the American situation, this is about the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats believe in that freedom. Let people do what they want, so long as they don't go beyond. But the Republicans are strictly hapa ni kwetu. What are you doing here? Why are you coming here? There should also be a balance between, for example, if now Trump was to continue doing what he's doing, and all the skilled people that have moved from other countries to the US decide to go back home, what do you think would
America
happen?
Will be in a mess.
Even Trump's wife herself is a foreigner. Even I'm told even his own mother was an immigrant, was an illegal, a paperless immigrant before she died. So I think it doesn't really make sense. To some extent, there should be some controls because again, when you just allow anybody to come in, it becomes a problem.
But now let us now look at it now in our country.
In Kenya.
Yeah, in Kenya. With the Somalia, with
our brothers from Somalia.
Now being told that we will begin IDs without vetting.
You see, I have to mention Duale here.
Yeah.
You see, Aden Duale is a politician. And I believe he also has ambitions. And one of the ambitions is can I run for
the presidency or the high office?
Or high office one day? One thing about the Somalis is when it comes to financial resources, they have money. They have money. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me they have their own banking system in Isli, their capital here in Nairobi, which they call, by the way, Mogadishu.
Yeah, Mogadishu.
Yes, Mogadishu Ndogo. Now, with that kind of money they control and the numbers, tell me why they cannot elect a president in this country.
They can.
Now, it doesn't mean, I don't mean Somalis are bad people.
They are good people.
They have a right to elect their president. But then we have that fear, mainly from those of us who are Christians. We have that fear of, are they likely to come with their Sharia law? You see? That is the main issue. That is the issue of religion has to come in.
Yeah.
If you look at the dating alone, even here in Nairobi, Boniface, well, I know you are not married. Do you know any Muslim man would consider you an enemy if he saw you walking here on the roads with a Muslim woman?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you are not a Muslim.
If you are not a Muslim, you'll become their enemy. Let me give you an example. One day I was doing, my work involves moving around. So one day I was passing through some place in Lavington. Then I met a Muslim lady, dressed, covered herself, the whole body. And she seemed to be lost. Being a human that I am, I got concerned and asked her, what is the problem? I realized she cannot even communicate in Kiswahili or English. I could not understand. Then somebody there told me, this lady seems to be lost. There is a very big mosque up near Adam's Arcade. So I told her, sign. I learned some sign language. I have a daughter who
is
yes. So through sign language, I asked her to accompany me, and I took her to the mosque, the Adam's Arcade Mosque. I asked for the imam because I wanted to hand her over to them because this is a member of their religion. You know, when the imam came, he thought I have come there to be married to that lady. So he quickly called the elders who are there. And when I told them what is happening, they told me, you are a good man.
So they thought that you went there to get married? They thought
I was going there to get married because they are not used to seeing a man and a woman coming together to a mosque at lunchtime.
At lunchtime.
Yes. So I went there at lunchtime. Then from there I learned something. One, why did they have to ask me, are you a Christian? You are a good Christian. It means they have met some bad Christians, just like we Christians have met some bad Muslims.
Yeah.
So it is a whole issue of religion becomes very sensitive in such a situation.
I have a friend of mine. He's a Somalian. He's the guy who normally goes there to easily to buy suits and my clothes. He's called Isa. So there was a time that I went there. We were just having a conversation, like we'll have a conversation with a brother. I wanted to know more about them. And this guy told me one thing, that he called me Boni. He told me that, Boni, the problem with you Christians is that you are really like, ni kama mnajipenda sana nyinyi wenyewe. Like you don't want to see other people growing. You can't accept a fellow Christian to grow.
And that one I agree.
Yeah.
That one I agree. Let me make a comment before you continue. Have you ever met two Christians going to church on a Sunday morning? One going this direction, another one the opposite direction. Do they say hi to each other?
They don't.
But after they pass each other, kila mmoja anatana na angalia mwingine.
Yeah.
Yes? Why is it so? Have you ever realized that even in the societies where we stay, even possibly where you stay, you'll get a church, a church here, another church next to it, and so, and they are preaching the same Jesus. And these people who are preaching don't even greet each other.
They don't greet each other. In fact, they
The other day,
don't know each other.
the other day in my neighborhood and the shopping center where I do shopping, there were 2 crusades over the weekend, and they were not even 50 meters apart. And they had put on their speakers, they were preaching. But, I was asking myself, these people don't even see that they are really making noise and interfering with each other. Why didn't they just put these instruments together and made a bigger crusade? Because they are preaching the same thing. But you see now the challenge, Boniface, is this. The day we turned religion into an economic activity, that is where the rain started beating us. I told you at some point I went to Bible school because I wanted to be a pastor. But then I looked at what is happening in churches today and I said, no, I'd be better off as a common raya here. Because if I go and get into church leadership with the attitude I'm seeing, that is always about raising money and so on, it didn't sit well with me in my heart. So I just said, no, I'll not do this.
But they are good churches. They are good pastors. That's the same way they are good Muslims. They are good
if they are good churches and good pastors, can they start by paying taxes to support our economy? That is one of the questions I'd ask them. Remember, I told you about a church that I know that had collected over 2 billion in 1 year. If they gave only 10% of that to the government, for example, and the government was, and I'm talking about a good government, not just any government. You see, I want to repeat this. People don't have a problem with taxes, so long as you show them where their money is going. But when you are taxing me 30% of my money every month, and then all I can see is the latest vehicles you've bought for your ministers, the trips to foreign countries, and how are they benefiting me? If you taxed me even 50% and told me I'm giving you education for free, I'm giving you medical care for free, I'm making sure you have food, not necessarily for free, but subsidized enough to the level where I don't have to struggle. I'll not care even if you tax me 90%, but make my life easy. The problem why people are fighting against the finance bill, and it will continue if it is brought again, is because people don't see value for the taxes they are paying. There are countries here which are paying over 60% and they are not complaining. Why? Because their leaders are responsible enough to know this is not my money. I should put it to proper use. And they account to their people every time. If it is the issue of investment, and this is maybe a topic we can discuss some other time, the reason why some countries are rich than others, and when other countries are beggars, is because there are some countries that made a deliberate decision that out of all the taxes we are collecting, come rain or sunshine, we have to save this percentage in a fund. And that money has been, for a country like Singapore, for example, even the Chinese, there is a fund where they save government money and saving is compulsory. We have 47 counties in this country. Suppose each of those counties just opened a fund, a saving, and made it compulsory. For example, my Bungoma county where I come from. If they said that whatever we receive from the national government every financial year, we save this amount. Whatever we collect from our own revenue sources, every financial year we save this amount. don't you think this country will grow?
It will grow.
But what is happening is, even if it even goes down to constituencies and even wards, they can start such a thing, and development will come. But because of the caliber of people we elect, they have no idea of financial education, and they believe they are going there to be paid salaries, so they don't save. They grow up with a spending mentality. You have to spend everything that you have, because at the end of the financial year, if you still have money, it goes back to treasury.
Tell me this, Dan. I've heard William Ruto saying that Kenya has got no problem. The problem with Kenya is that we have got bad leaders who only think about campaign every now and then.
He's right.
What is it?
He's right, and he's one of the problems we have in this country. He's already campaigning.
But he's saying that he's not campaigning, he's doing projects.
He'll defend himself that way, but we know he has lost central, so he has to go and look for other partners, possibly for the next election. If I'm elected in office, why should I seek to be popular? That is why sometimes I like Kibaki. Kibaki used to ask, you people are complaining, and you can see Thika Road is being done, houses are being built, education is free. Who is doing that? Let your work speak for you.
Don't speak for yourself.
Yes. So Ruto is actually one of our problems, unfortunately, and it is a problem we have to deal with in 2027. Yes, or before.
How can we deal with him before 2027?
We leave that one to God. Our job is to go and pray and say, God, this is our problem. Please help us deal
solve for us this problem.
Yes.
The burden is heavy.
Because there is only one constitutional way of removing a president. It's through the ballot.
Ballot, yeah.
Yes. If we thought of anything else, it will be unconstitutional. It will actually be treason. Yes.
Now, my last question. Donald Trump cancelled the Haiti funding. The funding that goes in the Haiti police. The project in Haiti has cancelled everything. Any support that maybe the United States of America was giving under Joe Biden is cancelled. But the president of the Republic of Kenya, that is our Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, said that he spoke with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump accepted to support the Haiti mission.
You see, the problem is when he said that, Trump never came out to confirm or deny. Sometimes as a leader, you don't have to expose everything you are doing. I've seen even posts about Ruto having said, I spoke to leader so and so. A wise thing as a leader, even if we speak today and we agree on something, just keep quiet and wait for mine. Or let me speak because possibly I'm very more powerful than you are. When you rush to the media and say, I discussed with so and so and he also agrees, you are trying to force him to agree with you. And Trump also has his own advisors. Remember, he had to go back on some of the decisions he had made. But then coming to the issue of maybe just a comment on the issue of the funding of the Haiti mission. Monica Juma, you know Monica Juma? The former, she was a minister in Uhuru's government. I think she's one of the advisors in the current government. Monica Juma says even if the Trump has stopped that funding, the UN has enough money already to accomplish that mission. Let's hope so. But even if there is no money, I think to me, we need our policemen and women here in Kenya because we also have enough problems that we need them to help us solve. Our chiefs have been abducted.
Making William Ruto a fear and speaking on top of the car.
Yes, he had to address the people from the car.
Just in case anything happens.
Yes. Why does he have that fear? because of the issue of insecurity in our own country. So instead of bringing peace and whatever in Haiti or DRC or any other country here on earth, can we start here at home? I think that would be my question. I know the issue of the loss of income would come in, but I've addressed that through if we have prudent leadership. Nairobi County alone can, the taxes they collect every day can take care of everybody in this country. You know, you want to, we have people who are keeping millions of money, both here at home and in foreign banks around the world. There are people who have bought houses in other countries. Boniface, how many beds do you need to sleep in?
I can sleep.
Do you even need a bed?
I don't even need a bed.
Yes, you can sleep anywhere.
Anywhere.
How many plates of food do you need in a day? Just one. So why would you accumulate all these things?
Just like for instance, let's say for example somebody like me, why do I need a 3-bedroom? I'm single. I don't have a family.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe I just want to use one room as my home office.
Now when you say that to some people, they'll tell you are not ambitious enough. It is not about being ambitious.
Okay, what do I need the 3-bedroom for?
Exactly.
I can only need a 2-bedroom because maybe I want to put an office.
Maybe let me ask you one more question. We have our Mumia system P. Selassie posted his payslip online yesterday. And he earns over $1 million shillings and he's not married. I think his take home after deductions was 18,000 shillings. Do you want to comment on that one?
18,000 shillings?
Yes.
I don't want to comment. I don't need to comment.
So given his position as the member of parliament, of course there are people who expect some handouts from him and so on. This also culture of expecting handouts is the reason why good people run away from leadership. Unfortunately, a discussion like this one we are having will only reach people who can connect online and on this media and so on. It will not reach the people on the ground. Let me tell you, the day I said I'm going to run for MP in Webuye East, people came home where I was born, my mother's home. And they were asking, this guy wants to be our leader. Where is his house in this compound? They were expecting to see a magnificent house, maybe property. When I go home, they expect me to show up in a nice car
and give them some.
And you see some people just wake up and you wake up in the morning and you find people busy in the compound trying to do something here and there, so that you give them something. There is this notion that if somebody declares they want to be in leadership, they have money. It is not true. We just struggle like anybody else. It is only that we don't go complaining to everybody. But unfortunately, the way politics has always run in this country, it has been tied on something called money. That is where the problem is.
So it's all about money.
It is all about money. I know a lot of good people who are capable of leading as well. Even PLO tried here. Was it in Bahati or where? He didn't get elected despite all the fame he had at that time, because he didn't have money to give handouts. So in this country, if you want to be a politician na huna handouts, huna pesa ya kupatia watu, it is difficult.
I used to hear something also that the reason as to why Raila used to fail is because Raila is good, but he doesn't give tip. That is how they were saying.
Raila takes instead. Raila doesn't give, he takes. Yes. That could be one of the reasons. That and by the way, Raila is not a poor man.
He's not a poor man.
Raila is one of the, I think should be the third richest person in our country today. Maybe even the second.
Maybe the second.
After
Kenyatta's
family. I don't know about Moise and so on. But Raila is a rich man. So if he wanted to give money,
he would be giving.
He would be giving. So can we just say he's just naturally the selfish kind?
It's not about being selfish. I think you've talked about it. I don't think it's about being selfish. It's just that, okay, I give you money, so it's like I'm buying you. I think it just like, let's say for instance, we're supposed to go with you somewhere, and you told me that you're not going. You're not going. I don't know the reasons why you're not going. And then I send you 10,000 shillings.
And you say,
and then you say, okay,
I'm coming.
Have you gone there willingly, or you've gone there because
of the money? Let me tell you something. I hire salespeople. Actually, our company is one of those companies that there is always an opportunity in sales. In fact, anybody listening to this broadcast and they have somebody who wants a job, there are always jobs in sales. So recently, I was talking to one of the student leaders of a university around here, and she was helping me put together a team. Yesterday, I got a question from her because I told them, once we hire you, or before we hire you, we have to take you through what we do. You understand the process. You understand what you need to do to be able to earn. And the training takes about a week. The question I was asked is, will we be paid to come for training? Now, I was wondering, these are young people that you are trying to give a job so that they make some money, and they want me to pay them to train them.
And they are like, now they want to behave like they are members of parliament. They don't have any, they don't go in any sitting without parliament.
This is one of the bad cultures we have in this country. I don't know how it was during the past. By the way, I don't even know how my parents used to manage. But I know life is a bit tricky now. But when somebody is giving you an opportunity to work and make money, why would you ask that person again to pay you, to train you to do the job that will pay you?
You are the one who's supposed to show interest.
Exactly. In fact, when I train you, you should pay me instead. But I'm not asking for payment. I'm just telling you, create time and show up. I'll train you and show you what to do. And if you like it, we do it together.
So that you can help yourself.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, if I decide to help myself, it's all about me, it's not you. I'm helping my family.
And that Boniface is why I said our problem as a country is the software. I wish there is a way we could just take every one of us to a factory and erase everything and install new software in them.
We talk about factory resetting.
Exactly.
Maybe your last statement or your last words as we wind up.
My last word is we still have a country. At least we should thank God. And we are not at war. War is bad. In fact, if it broke out here, we will not be able to sit the way we are seated this way. We thank God we have freedom of expression. We can say anything we want to say. And nobody should come and threaten you with abduction or whatever. Say it, but say it within the limits of the constitution. There was a president in Uganda called Idi Amin. Amin used to tell people, there is freedom of speech, but I can't guarantee freedom after speech. So people in Uganda were very afraid of speaking. And I realized they still have that fear.
It has really affected them up to date.
You go to a country like Zimbabwe, people don't speak. In fact, when they appear here, you are speaking politics, they run away. Because when we Kenyans shout and say bad things about our leaders, people look at us and wonder, what is wrong with these people?
You put your president in a coffin.
Yes.
In fact, he comments.
Yes. But here we thank God we have this freedom. And we want to keep it that way.
We thank God for our 2010 constitution.
Yes, our 2010 constitution and all those people who died. By the way, what many people in those countries don't know is that before we got the 2010 constitution,
A lot of people died.
A lot of people died.
Yeah.
We used to have that fear that they are having now. So they, at some point, they'll also reach a point where they'll be speaking freely without caring.
But now that one, there's a price to pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
After speech,
yeah.
somebody will come for you.
Can you repeat
Thank you so much.
That statement that Amin said. I mean, there is a freedom of speech.
But I can't guarantee you freedom after speech.
But you can't be guaranteed freedom after speech.
Yes.
So we thank God in our country.
Yeah.
Now, I really appreciate you guys for always tuning in, watching Havana Media. And if at all we are meeting for the first time, just a reminder, please don't forget to take a minute, click the subscribe button. You can also like, share, do and comment in the comment section. And we also like to appreciate people like Monari together with your family, and also Billion wherever you are. I know you are in the United States of America. You'll tell me the state how things are. And people like Annex in Dubai, thank you very much. May God bless you. Asante sana. And also those who knows Dan Lucorito, you are a financial.
But by the way, they can also follow me on socials.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook. Dan Lucorito is my name.
Yeah.
And anywhere else, just Google my name. It will bring me it will bring you all my history. It will tell you I was a teacher. But currently, I am a financial advisor with one of the companies here in Nairobi.
CIC?
I help people. No, I'd rather not mention because you sign. There are some documents you sign when you are working for a company, and it is not one of my duties to advertise it. We have a department for that.
Yeah.
But you can reach out to me if you want to plan your finances, maybe education of your children, or maybe you just want to plan for a long-term investment.
Yeah.
Reach out to me on Facebook and other places where you'll find me. I'm available. My number is there.
You know, great people don't, what I normally know is that straightforward people don't normally hide their identity. They don't normally use a lot of names that can challenge. So his name is Dan Lucorito everywhere. Facebook, everywhere he uses Dan Lucorito.
Yes.
Thank you very much. May God bless you. Asante sana. Until we meet again in the next video, if it is possible, I've been your host, Boniface Wino. Bye-bye.